Well, hey family, happy Thursday. This is Darlene stopping by real quick. I am here with a quick presentation. I got a couple of really good questions, and I figured from those questions I would just go ahead and put together a little simple presentation because they were really good questions. There's a lot of people who are beginners at jewelry making, so they have questions, and they're trying to find their way through. And I think that's good stuff. And if I can help, I'm going to help. You pretty much already know how I do. So if I have some information and I think that information is going to help out, I'm going to give you the information. That's just how we work. So we're going to talk about what is your style of jewelry? Do you know what you are making and the style category it belongs in? A lot of people do not know which style category their handmade jewelry belongs under. And the thing with jewelry, it's a very large and rich ecosystem of styles. And the most common of styles you will see over and over again and again. You'll see them in fashion, artisan markets. You'll see them on all different platforms, all online, right? So these are pretty much the most common ones are what we're going to talk about. And then we're going to go ahead and start with boho. So I'm seeing a lot of people that may not be making boho jewelry. It don't belong under the category of boho. It may belong under another category, but people are calling their jewelry boho, and it's not boho. So boho is considered to be organic, free-spirited, very layered and expressive. It's almost like eclectic. You can see different, odd, in a way. So natural stones, wood, leather, shells, feathers, tassels, fringe, wrap wire. The colors are usually like earthy tones, mixed textures, and they sell well to boutiques, lifestyle brands, and festival retailers. And it's true because my jewelry is categorized as boho. The style is boho. And when I started making the beaded jewelry, because I came from making leather jewelry, but when I started making the beaded jewelry, I was very careful about finding out and researching. Okay, well, what style of jewelry is this that I'm making? And as I did my research, I'm learning. Oh, okay, well, mine is pretty much boho. It's boho. So then we move to minimalist. Minimalist is very clean, modern, understated jewelry. It's very simple, very easy to wear, like neutral metals, gold, silver, matte finishes, very lightweight, and it's jewelry that people can wear every day, pretty much every day. And I'm seeing people make very simple, easy to wear earrings and necklaces, but they're calling it something else. They're calling the design. They might have ethnic attached to it. They might have classic attached to it, or vintage or something attached. And I'm like, man, well, that's not what that is. It's minimalist, right? So you got to know what style of jewelry that you're making. And if you don't know the style of jewelry that you're making, it makes it very difficult, along the way. If you plan on selling outside, if you plan on selling at events, if you plan on, like really establishing something that makes sense. And then there's statement jewelry. Statement, it's bold, it's catching, it's dramatic, it's artistic. My jewelry falls under this category as well because it's statement jewelry. It's bold, it's eye catching, it's dramatic, it's artistic. So this bracelet right here, you can see there's nothing simple, classic, or easy about this bracelet set right here. It's boho, it's free spirited, it's eye catching. It is what it is. So it can fit under two different categories, my style jewelry. And then we have what's called mixed media. And mixed media is basically just all the different materials mixed up together: fabric, resin, metal, clay, beads combined. Has like a one of a kind feel. My jewelry could even fall up under this one, and I think sometime it does, because I will mix some stuff together fast, quick, and in a hurry. And it does sell well to like galleries and artisan markets and specialty stores because they generally are one of a kind. type pieces. And then you have another category with this, which is ethnic, tribal, cultural, inspired by global traditions. So that's like African, Native, Indian, Middle Eastern, like beads, symbols, traditional patterns, and different things like that. And I also see people, making jewelry with symbols and traditional patterns and different things like that. But they'll call their jewelry boho, or they'll call their jewelry vintage. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not what that is. And you gotta excuse people, because a lot of people are new at jewelry making. So a lot of people are getting laid off from jobs. A lot of people are trying to, like start side businesses, and they're picking jewelry as maybe that side business, right? But you do got to learn some stuff before you say, hey, I'm gonna start making some pieces and I'm get out here and start selling them. Where you got to be a little bit more educated about things, when you start presenting things to the market, because people expect you to know what it is that you're selling, right? And then there are a lot of other jewelry design styles: classic elegance, which is like clean lines, minimal embellished diamond studs, simple gold chains, simple stuff like that. Glamorous, you got vintage, you got spiritual. I've even seen people you doing evil eye type jewelry, crystals, chakras, and all those things, and then they're calling their jewelry classic, or something. And I'm like, well, no, you gotta do a little research so you can make sure that you're presenting yourself in the best way possible. And education is one of them. Like, what you're talking about and what you're selling. There's also contemporary, and then there's a tech influence design. So there's a lot of other different designs, and you just got to figure out which one of these jewelry making designs do your handmade jewelry fall under, right? And then why it's important for a jewelry designer to know their design category. It is very important. Let's talk about some of why it's important. First of all, it defines your creative identity. That it absolutely does. When somebody see a piece, it's like, oh, well, that's jewelry by BDK. Darlene make that. Identity, right? Your design category shows your artistic voice. It speaks to people. People automatically know. It helps people instantly recognize your work. Absolutely, positively. Totally agree with that. Keeps your collections visually consistent. That's another thing. You can see people making handmade jewelry, and they'll bounce around. So they'll start one design, and then before you know it, they're making some other design, and then another different design. And you got to have consistency. You got to have consistency, which goes back to identity and artistic voice. And then that's what you want if you're trying to establish a small business or a side business or something, or even want to get out there and start selling at fairs and festivals and music festivals and all that type of stuff. These are some things that you gotta take care of before you actually get out there in the market. And it attracts the right customers. When you understand your artistic voice, and when you understand your creative identity, it attracts the right customers. And that's what you want. You want to attract the right customers. And customers shop based on style. That they do, right? So if half of your product is classic, or another part is tribal, and then another part is boho, and then another part is you don't even know what that is, that's very difficult to nail down your right customers. So you want to have creative identity and an artistic voice, and that comes from consistency, making the same style of jewelry all the time. Clear categories help buyers find what matches their taste. That's true. Reduces confusion about what you offer. That's supposed to be offer. I got off on there. That's the whole everything about it. If you're at, let's say, a music festival, and the foot traffic might be 50,000 people, and you got people rushing to your table, and they're coming to see what it is that you got, there's going to be some confusion when you have five different styles of something up there. You can't even explain or articulate in your artistic voice, because you have no creative identity. So you can see where it would make sense. You have to have that creative consistency. Supports accurate pricing. That's another thing. You got to know what you got, so you're able to price it accordingly. Different categories require different materials and techniques. True. Helps justify pricing to customers. Absolutely, because a lot of customers are very educated. They're very aware. and they know what they're going to spend their money on and if it's worth it or not. So you as a business owner out there trying to sell what it is that you make, you have to know just as much as what the market knows. If you don't, you'll be looking foolish. Shows the value behind your craftsmanship, right? Improves communication with clients. We just talked about that. Knowing your category sets clear expectations. Also helps you to explain what you do and don't do. That's a biggie. It explains what you do and what you don't do. But you have to know what you do and what you don't do. That comes with an artistic voice, consistency, and creative identity, right? Makes custom order conversations easier because if somebody sees something, they can see your brand is consistent. They know what you make, they know how you make it. Your designs are classic, or they're boho, or they're tribal, or they're ethnic, or they're spiritual. It's like, oh, okay, well, I want somebody can say, I want a vintage inspired necklace with two. Well, that's not something that you do, right? That's not your artistic voice, and that's not something that you do. So it makes custom order conversations easier between you and the potential customer. So knowing your jewelry category helps you to design with clarity, market with confidence, and connect with the customers who truly appreciate your work, right? So there is a lot that we generally need to know before we start getting out there in the market and trying to sell what we make. Because I see it a lot. You know, people will put some bracelets together, they'll put some pieces together, and before you know it, they're somewhere trying to sell something. And it's like it's more to it than that. You got to understand and know the business part of it first. Create, create to your heart's delight, and make sure you're creating quality, right? So that that quality can match with what you know. So do your research, read up on things, and arm yourself with education. Arm yourself with understanding your creative identity, and it'll build. If that's what you want to do, if you want to build the business, handmade jewelry business, it'll build one step at a time. But you have to educate yourself, and that's one thing I always talk about too. Keep yourself educated. If you got to watch YouTube videos, if you have to read ebooks, if you have to buy books, if you have to, whatever way to learn, and sometimes you got to spend a little money. Everything can't be free. Things you got to spend a little money to kids. I don't mind spending a little money to get educated, because I can't tell you how much money I've spent on, just, webinars and workshops and all that type of stuff just to keep myself educated, just to keep growing Jewelry by BDK, because that's the whole objective, to get it to a point where it is, it sustains me and my lifestyle and everything else. So and that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. It takes educating yourself, and it takes doing it one step at a time. It takes understanding your artistic voice. It takes understanding your creative identity, and it definitely takes consistency. And I keep repeating that because those things are very, very, very important. And I do still have those 3 ebooks available for any other members that would like them to be emailed over to you. You can email me at jerrybybdk@gmail.com. Also, this information, I'm putting this information expanded in an ebook. I should be finished with that ebook, I want to say by the end of next week. And if you'd like to receive that ebook, you can email me at jewelrybybdk@gmail.com, jewelrybybdk@gmail.com. And it's full of just expanded, detailed information about jewelry designs, jewelry styles, just all this good information and stuff. But anyway, Darlene Knight for Jewelry by BDK, and guess what? We'll talk.